Well, what's up, guys? I'm not going to bore you with a long intro on this one. We got a lot to do today. So we've got probably, I think, some fabrication coming up. Yeah, definitely I know we're going to do a little bit of welding and things like that. So with that being said, let's just get to it. Alright, so the high build primer has been applied, and I gotta be honest, it turned out really good compared to how dented it was here and there, and all along here from stuff that had been in the bed that had shifted around and made a dent, and then all those little spot welds, got those taken care of. There's one little, I can't find it now. There's one little imperfection I missed, a slight little dent, but I'm not going to worry about it because the whole goal is that this is not a show truck, it's a shop truck. And in reality, what I want it to end up being is when somebody walks up to it, they don't know if it's been restored or just really well taken care of for all its life. So, oh, and then the fuel filler hole, that ended up coming out really good. There's a little area I have to address right there, but no big deal. Came out really straight, looks really good. The top of the bed, this was all just dented like crazy. That came out really good. So yeah, I'm happy with it. I'm impressed. So these black unibody doors that I scored several episodes back where I drove to Omaha to pick them up, they're absolutely incredible. I don't have to do a single bit of filler work. There's no dents. There's no rust. I mean, there's a little surface rust there. Just fantastic. But there is a few little issues. You can see somebody has drilled a big hole there. No big deal. We know how to patch holes with the welder. But then we've got a few little cracks through the steel there. No big deal. We can fix that. But yeah, I'm super impressed with how good these doors actually are. Here's a shot of the passenger door. They're both just as straight and as clean as this with no bubbles or anything. And I got them super cheap. I think it was like 75 bucks for the pair of them for a unibody door, custom cab with the locks on both sides. It was definitely a score. All right, cleaned up the whole area. Gonna fill these two areas with weld and fill in that hole. Already that hole is filled, it just needs to be ground down. And you'll never know it was there. Same with these two guys. There was a crack that was forming going towards this hole, so I wanted to catch that. Get that filled in. So we'll get this ground down. It'll be almost like they never existed. Alrighty, so after some grinding, this is all flat and level. Looks good. May not even need any filler there. And then the others over here, there was one right there, one right there. Then I found another one that was right there. It was starting to crack. This is where the inner part of the door, like welds to the spot welds to this part of the door, and so it was cracking just a little bit in these areas. All filled in, all ground down. These will need some filler, as you can see. And I'm guessing high build primer would probably fill that in, but I don't want to guess too much. I'm already going to be in here with filler for this deep scratch here, a few little dents, so not a big deal. Came out good. Shot the door. It came out really good. There was a big hole somebody had drilled right in there, and then there was just some dents and stuff on here. Got those taken care of. Door came out good too. All right, when I covered this thing in primer, I realized I had missed two cracks, one there and one there. Cracks in the metal that no big deal. We could just fire up the welder, get those sealed up, and then sand it back down and shoot some more primer over it. When I'm going to start welding, I'm going to weld to where before the crack starts and then go down, kind of going off the previous bead that I laid, so that way we don't punch through, or hopefully don't punch through. Easier said than done, I guess. Alrighty, didn't punch through. Alrighty, cracks are gone, all patched up. It's as if they were never there. Alright, so as you can see, this roll pan is in about as bad a shape as you could imagine one being. Big old dents, and they even folded in on the side there. So this is going to take some metal work, that's for sure. So I'll try to get this pounded out as straight as possible, and then probably do some skim coats of filler and see if we can't get this thing straight. I was thinking about just cutting out on either side and putting in all new metal, but I'm going to try to straighten it out as much as I can using hammer and dolly and whatnot, and see what we can't get. Alright, so I've been working on this roll pan for a little while now, and just trying to hammer and dolly it out. I even heated it, and it's just not cooperating. It won't really conform to any shape that I want it to, and I checked with my gauge here, and we have 12 gauge steel. That would be why it's not cooperating. It's just too thick. So I think the easiest way to go about this is to cut it out and put in a new piece that will be nice and straight, and cut out a lot of this work, hammer and dolly work. Even if I do get it into a general shape, then we got to deal with filler work and all that stuff. So this is just going to be the quickest and best solution, is to put in all new steel down here. I'm going to leave this part where it is, just kind of cut around it, because that's pretty straight all in all. It's mounted with, you can see some spot welds. Here it's mounted to a support behind it, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And then it actually goes over this lip pretty far, like a good 1.5 inches, 2 inches. I'm also going to have to repair this whole area. So yeah, I'll be back here for a while. And then we got a little crack right here that needs attention. Had I known I was going to paint this truck someday, I would have started with a straighter truck. But Old Blue will get you looking good again. Heat index of 125 degrees with a dew point of 83. Not the most enjoyable day to be in the garage. Hey, Portacool, you want to sponsor me?
And he is rewarding me back with $500.
All right, got the spot welds drilled out, and is free. The reason I drilled all the way through the spot welds is because there's a bracket here and a bracket here. It's going to give me a hole to weld the new roll pan piece to weld it to the bracket. So that's why I went all the way through. Typically, you just use one of these spot weld cutters and get through that first layer and it'll release. But I wanted to go all the way through to be able to have holes to weld through for the new piece that we'll be putting in. Alright, to make a template for the roll pan here, I'm not going to use the original piece. It's got this weird little kick down that, like, it starts on like at 5 3/4 of an inch and goes up to a little over 6. And it's just weird to have that little kick down. I'd like to have it go more gradual. Also, trying to lay this thing flat. I mean, I guess I could pound it flat. It just seems easier for me to use. Well, I guess you can tell what I'm using here. And I'm holding it up by magnets, and then I'll transfer my lines to that, and then it'll give me a template of the piece to cut out to weld in for the new roll pan. Getting these pieces that I cut out on a flat surface, you can really see how dented up they are. And this is after probably about an hour of working with it. You can see where I heated things and just tried to get it straight, and you can see how thick this actually is. So it was not cooperating with the body hammers that I had. I needed something bigger, like a planishing hammer or something like that, but I don't have any of that. So that's why I decided to go with making a new one. So while welding this roll pan in, you can see it's a big area of steel here. And if I was to just start on one end and just weld all the way around it, I'd end up warping this thing to probably be just as bad as what I started with. So I'm just kind of moving around, letting things cool. It's kind of a practice of patience, because you want to go in and weld everything in, but doing that is going to make things warped, and you don't want that. So you just have to slow down time, take your time, let things cool, and then just kind of work your way back in and around, and then you'll retain your straight panel. Okay, so this roll pan situation is looking pretty good, other than a little area right here you can see. It's a little proud of the area that we're welding to. No big deal. This is why we tack weld these things in. Just cut a few of these tacks, and then I'll push it a little bit farther back, tack it all back in, then it'll be looking good. A little proud right here too. You can see a little daylight in there. Again, no big deal. Just cut a few of these tacks, shove it back in, and weld it in. We should be looking good. A lot better than it was. Alright, now that looks like a roll pan to me, boys. Much better than what we started with. Just do a little skim coat of filler later. It'll be good as new. I also like this gradual upward motion. This side hangs down farther than this does. So there's just a gradual upward motion forward originally. Just made a bump there to compensate for it. But it kind of has a swoop upwards. Kind of ties into the swoop of the style line going down the side of the bed. And just like that, a cold front blows through and brings temperatures back down. We're today 76 degrees with relative humidity around 40. That's the way July should be, in my opinion. We are creeping ever so much closer to 5,000 subscribers, which is fantastic. It still blows me away. It's amazing having you guys along. That's why I always say we, even though I'm doing all the work. I always say, we're getting the roll pan down, because it just feels like that, especially with your comments and everything. It just feels, it's great having you guys along, and have almost 5,000 of you is even cooler. Actually, let's see where we're at right now. Currently sitting at 4,911 of you, which is, again, that's amazing. I really appreciate that. And every time I put out a video, I get a good amount of new subscribers. So maybe this will be the video that gets us to that 5,000 mark. So yeah, once the body's pretty much all done, we're gonna move to the interior. I did order a pair of these vents. We're gonna put them in the radio area that I talked about in a previous episode, not the last episode, but the episode before. So these are the ones I went with. I know I had a few options, and I just like these. These kind of understated, not too fancy, and it kind of goes along with the rest of the truck. Got a lot done today. The roll pan was a big one for me, and covering up the fuel filler neck hole, getting that where it's undetectable that it was ever even there. So I'm glad that was done. Really, it feels like kind of in the home stretch of this thing. Got the pretty much just the top to go, level that out, the driver door, and then the other bedside, and then yeah, we'll pretty much be all for primer, and then getting ready to spray some color. So that's really exciting. We're just getting so much closer. Feels like I can really see it now. Happy to have you guys along, that's for sure. And guys, with that being said, I appreciate it as always, and I'll see you in the next one.